okay, I'll jump in and I'll come back. For instance, Palestinians, if you follow the trends of technology and what, say within tomorrow or 2 or 3 days from now, you'll be able to take a laptop computer, hook it up with a 1-inch gadget on those little missiles that they send off into the sky, and they land wherever they make do, or that they land close to something, right? But technology right now is, I'm not saying it's happening now, we got to peek into, but it says this: if you look at the world accuracy, they know Iran can hit a target smaller than this table. Okay? When you shoot them missiles off, they don't have no guidance system. But with beeper technology, just simple, way back technology, right, on a missile, can da-da-da-da-da-da, and that missile will hit Israeli headquarters. Why? Because somebody, one of the nationals, went and put a beeper right by Netanyahu's headquarters, right? And they shoot the missile, and it's got a little, it's all too simple, right? And they shoot 50 or 60 of those missiles off, and 45 of them blast the whole area, 1, 2, 3, and they're going to start saying, hold it. That's right around the corner. It's not a big mystery thing. I'm not saying I know what they're working on, but it's too simple. So call them semi-guided missiles or intermittent guided missiles. So it don't get picked up, you turn the laptop off for 30 seconds so they can't pick it up, you know what I mean, or whatever, right? You click it back on and the missile straighten back up, took it off, and then by that time it's hit pay dirt. I'm saying those are things that are making right now. The Israeli thing, the Israelis, this was the time that they would go overboard. And the world knew it. This is a totally different time than 3 weeks ago. Just like the war in Lebanon was one thing in 2006, and that was in June. By July, it was a whole different thing. In relation to the Zionists and Hezbollah. Have anybody paid attention to the media in the last few days? The media even is different. They're challenging the people that was hogtied by Israeli media. And it's coming out one thing after another. They know the people, this thing didn't come off because Palestinians were just mad at Jews. They took them out of their property and was going to stick Jews in there, or Zionists in there, right? And the people didn't like it. Then it spreads to Masjid al-Aqsa, and on and on and on. And now, okay, to make a long story short, not only the Muslims, but some of the non-Muslims are more supportive of Palestine, right, than the handkerchief-headed Muslims. And it all happened at just the right time, because it was only 2 or 3 months ago that these so-called Arabs or Muslims they was drawn out thinking this Trump stuff might last a while, but they signed, you know, they showed themselves, we are the handkerchief-headed, and it all at the right time, because they're all trying to slip back and get back in the door. Go on with you. But they had already showed themselves. The other thing is the continuation of the Palestinians continuing to shoot missile after missile. On the news, they show you, well, only 12 Israelis got killed. But they control how many people they tell you about. And the fear level. And they show you on somebody on the news talking, yeah, we don't care, we just, that ain't true. If you got an air raid every 10 minutes, it's gonna shatter your nerves. And if one neighbor get killed, it's like 1,000 neighbors getting killed. You know what I mean? It's shattering. So, and it wasn't the brothers that asked for postponement and all this. It was the Zionists. And Netanyahu was just like in the khutbah the other day. Let him go. He'll take care of everything. We have to be patient enough to put up with these murderers. Well, you and I don't have to, but we have to put up with our own type of criminal behavior that you don't have no control over. This is what As-Sabiqun wa nifsul Imam, patience is half of faith comes from. One hadith say get married is half of faith, but the other hadith say As-Sabiqun wa nifsul Imam, patience is half of faith, right? In other words, the people there have their own type of patience, and they've been holding on. They've done a good job. The people of Iran have their own type of patience, and they've been holding on. It's no, we're not putting up with that anymore. Right here in the United States, we have our own type of sabr, and we have never buckled or bit the dust. No matter what they do, the system do, we haven't said we give boss, we all know. In fact, that has not happened, and with these modern times, it won't happen. Let me move on a little bit. Critical pressure. The least applied pressure required at the critical temperature to liquefy gas. I'm talking about critical points. If you're below a certain level, it's like you're 1,000 miles away. If you're above the thing, it won't happen. The critical point is when the temperature and when the environment, I'm talking about environmental circumstances, reach a certain period where the things that were frozen are now liquefied, right? The things that were opaque and invisible are now visible. This is what we're talking about for us. This is a critical period in history. This is for this time. It is similar to the 1950s and 1960s, when you could give Malcolm could go to a town and give one lecture and everybody wake up. That was a time where we could give, for 40 and 50 years, the most dynamic lectures probably in world history, and everybody just look at it. You remember when Dr. Khalid Siddiqui, what he said? To him, the lecture that I gave before in South Africa, he said, we all know about race. All of them. Everybody grew up in, and especially South Africa, you know. He said, but this brother that put a whole new, do y'all remember that? This, okay, so, but it wasn't the time. It wasn't the time. But at critical mass and where all of that, it was dynamic, but it wasn't the time. It wasn't time for certain things to happen. Because it's not only one thing that's happening, it has to be a whole functional cooperation of many elements coming together at that same time to produce that critical transformation. So I'll just read one more and then I'll get to exactly what I'm talking about. So certain things, critical mass, critical angle, when everything hits that certain angle. Well, let me see, maybe I can read up what it say right here. The smallest angle of incidence at which a light ray passing from one medium to another less refractive medium can be totally reflected from the boundary between the two. In other words, we talked about it the other day, but we didn't talk about it in these words. You ever see these motion pictures or something about Egypt and all these statues and all that stuff? And there's one picture I remember that at a certain time, every billion years, the light passes through there and it shines on everything. And that's a critical historical period. It don't happen all the time. That's make-believe, but it gives you an idea of what we're talking about. This critical period is when the light shining through here, and it's technically it seems like it's only shining on us because we're the only one getting the idea. Other people are getting ideas, but they don't know. The thing is shining on, they don't know what they're looking at. Oh, that's happening, this happening. But to them, it's not critical. That's where we come in. Okay, now we'll get to basically what we're talking about. You know, if you watch some of them old jungle movies, they're just as stupid as they can be. And they have the Negro, you know, always beating them drums, and some Negro said, why do drums say such and such and such, right? Right? Okay, now this is us. This is what the noise, the drums, the message, the drums say what we're getting ready to talk about now. Okay, you got to think about it. We can't exaggerate what part we're playing and who we are, but we can't diminish it either. And you got to keep it humorous. Drums say this, right? That's what we tell them. All of this stuff that's going on, this is what it means. And it's not new. Anybody that's been here over a period of time has seen this happen over and over and over again, right? This time is more critical. Okay. So the drums say, infiltrate the system with a purpose. If you would have asked us 40 years ago, we want to join in the system because since we can't beat it, we're going to join. And we tell you stupid Negroes, you needed a heart transplant, a head transplant, right? How you going to add no Negroes changes? Everybody infiltrated, they ain't had no effect on it, right? They infiltrated the system to get a job, right? To do all of those things. Now, I want you to think about the situation now. I don't care whether the student is at Howard or whether down in Virginia somewhere, wherever a black student is, They don't need to be educated about what America is. America is doing that itself, right? Tell the truth. America is wearing them out. And they all got a certain feeling, but they don't know what to do. Okay? If you would have went back some time ago, we thought that it would be good for us. They're showing this on the movie. We'll go and we'll build off of that, which we're still going to do. But now it's with a bigger purpose. The purpose now is to join the system. Voluntarily. Yes, join the system. We'll talk about the meaning of it. Join the system. Why would you want to join the system? It's not just because the white boys in small numbers have infiltrated sheriff's department and police departments all over the country. Look at the dynamics under Israeli guidance that they have with just a few of them. It's acceptable to shoot Negroes. I'm telling you, if you was watching TV, if you just watched a little bit of it, I don't watch that much, but it is case after case after case. It's study after study after study that they're doing. Now, where can you be, let's go over, what is it? Boy, the Imam be drinking something, then he come down here talking. Let's see what he's talking about. Number one, displaced or misplaced behavior is at the advantage of others. They said these niggas don't know what they're doing. But what if you place, right, every college campus, they talk about, we don't want no more ROTC. Bring the ROTC over there. Why? Get as many Negro youth as you can in the military. Not only to learn how to use weapons and everything. Get as many Negroes as you can, modern educated youth, that a sheriff's deputy's salary would be, they can live off of it. But the point is not to make a living now. The point is to be in a certain place at a certain time. And why are you here? They can give them a lie detector test. We're here to implement the laws of the United States of America. Okay? They got laws against police brutality, don't they? They don't follow them. But if you, a lie detective, if you say it, I am joining this police department to make sure that the laws of the United States, the Constitution, is carried out. Now, what about critical mass? Suppose 25% of those people are semi-conscious, where they can absorb information on non-violent resistance. Remember? There's nobody telling them what to do. But if you're a police officer and you see somebody black get beat up and you can't do anything about it, but if you got 10 of you there, and they ask you what happened, you just say, well, I'll just tell the truth, right? If you're by yourself, you'll be out the door. But if it's 10 of you out of 100, right? And they try to throw you out the door, the other 9 or 10 should say, he just told what happened. Can you do that? Right? What I'm saying is, and and I see facial looks. I'm happy that you asked. I want you to ask deep questions, because we didn't just go to sleep last night and wake up with a whole new set of ideas that's totally different than what we've been talking about. What's involved in this? Before, if you made certain mistakes, what is the environment like? No matter what you think, if you look out there at the environment, probably every other white kid is on our side, right? Every other white kid is on our side. When I started thinking about it in detail, Sakina was still in high school, and she says, I want to go down to it was the guy got killed, Michael Brown, down in St. Louis, Ferguson, Missouri. We just went down there. I said, sure, I'll be happy. And all the white kids, the white students, it was half and half in D.C. at that time. And the white kids were asking me questions like, they really do that to you? They really, I mean, they're from out there. They ain't never been stopped in their life. And nobody ever came to them to tell you, this is how we live. Those white kids at that demonstration, now Black Lives Matter. These white folks say Black Lives Matter. White people run. But they were there, and at that demonstration, a whole handful of Negroes came down from New York. Yeah, we did the police, another. So Ali, he had the microphone. I said, you got some authority? I said, let me have that microphone. He gave me the microphone, and I gave the people a lecture. I said, during the 60s, they got a lot of our people killed. These people would come and talk about the police this and the police that, and I said, that's the police. I didn't say, if you so bad, go do something to them. I think that's against the law now. So I said, Negroes talking about, we're having a peaceful demonstration here. And we thank all of y'all for coming to show your solidarity. This is in the first stages of this Black Lives Matter stuff. This is years ago. What is it? So